So usually I'm the one to say, don't take a rest day unless you know it's legit necessary and it's actually going to help you improve your recovery so that you can come back the day afterward even stronger, fully recovered, throw some weights around, actually make some legit progress. And I can say with certainty, I think a rest day is about to be in high demand for me. Even just after one day, well, I guess one day after the lift would be when I would feel it the most. But I can seriously feel my back is totally wrecked from that lift at Planet Fitness last night. And I think half of it's to do with the fact that I'm not used to having so many carbs in my system, you know? Like, I've been training flat, depleted, so these pumps are a little bit extra wild because, I mean, just to look at it on more of a cellular level, right? Like if somebody were to do a biopsy on my muscle fibers 2 weeks ago versus right now, what they would find is that there is a very large discrepancy in the fullness and amount of intramuscular fluid that I've got right now versus back then, right? Because that's when I was much more depleted, much lower on my glycogen stores. So you can almost look at it as though all my muscle fibers were still there, of course, but kind of shrunk down. You know, like there's still this many, let's say 8, whatever, for this chunk. But when I'm low on carbs and low on glycogen and everything else, they sort of shrink down a touch. They're still there, but they're not so full, right? And now we're getting closer to the complete opposite state of being because they're getting extra full of freaking everything, carbs, water, and the freaking works. So, yeah, even though all I did was like reasonably light squeezing rows and pull downs, like I did a heavy set of single arm cable rows that might have done a little bit of extra damage than I would have anticipated, but nothing wild. Like, it's going to take a second to get back into the swing of things of real nasty, kind of crazy lifts, but that is fine by me. That's kind of just the nature of things. So plan tonight with chest is pretty much just repeat the process from back day tomorrow, but obviously on the front side. So some decent pressing of probably a few different varieties. Flies, I'm a little limited to this gym because the cables are sweet, heavy stacks, old school, but the problem is they don't adjust, right? It's just either ankle height or overhead height. And for me with the cable flies, I really like a shoulder height cable attachment because it kind of lets me do basically all the fly variations that I like. Because sometimes I just want to stand completely upright and do flies right in front of my body as though I'm just sitting on like a pec deck. But if I want to bend over and do some more kind of decline style stuff and really dig in and try to stretch, then that same cable height works totally perfectly. The pre-workout has not been consumed yet, but once that gets into my system, I'll be a little closer to wired for this lift than I am now. But the benefit and the reason why I'm driving an extra 20-something minutes instead of going to like an Anytime or something that's a little closer is chest presses galore. I'm talking hammer strength presses, incline, flat, decline, plus some older school Nautilus stuff. Now, not everything, but much bigger variety than I usually have access to. And what I really like is a machine chest press that converges. So what I mean by that is the handles actually come inward toward the top instead of just being straight up and down, which sometimes I like that, right? Like an incline Smith machine press, your hands stay the same width the whole time. And for the purpose of, you know, maybe more so maximally loading your chest, that might make a little more sense. But with some of the machine presses, it's much easier to make use of a lighter weight and really get a crazy freaking squeeze at the top and build up fatigue that way. I think I'm really starting to turn over a new chapter in my ego lifting progression because I've started to look at videos and clips where guys have like 10 plates on a machine or like 40. You know the guys or like the full stack with 4 plate slabs on the side of it, which, I mean, I'm no stranger to it. I've definitely been there, so it's not like I'm saying I don't understand the value of trying to move around as much weight as possible. So I might just be saying this because over this whole dieting phase, I've had to pull back, right? Because I don't need to move that much weight to maintain my muscle and not overexert myself. But it's like a squat versus a leg press. What's more efficient utilization of weight, right? Because, I mean, I could do a crazy nasty set of squats right now, like 4 plates or something, and the equivalent amount of weights on a leg press would be like, I don't know how many, at least 8. So you got to move and set up double the amount of plates for what you could easily just replace with a regular simple lift, right? Like if somebody's doing a machine preacher curl, and I've seen it, like 8 plates on a machine preacher, dude, you could just grab the 45s and it would probably be a similar amount. So maybe that sounds kind of funky for me to say, being more of an ego lifter hater, but it's like you can go heavy to a degree and it still makes sense. It's like grunting during your workouts, right? You can make a little noise, but if you're the guy who's straight screaming every rep and he's really overdoing it, right, you might have gone too far. Right? Usually there's a nice middle ground with really almost every argument where the actual true answer lies. And it's not just you have to do absolutely perfectly clean, perfect reps, awesome form, 1 full second contraction every set that you do. I don't necessarily think that's the answer. And I definitely don't think you got to go as heavy as possible every set. Dorian, actually no, he knew what he was doing, what I'm talking about. But you get the opposite of that logic. Like somewhere in between, I think is a nice sweet spot, right? You got the yin and yang. Like I might want to do a controlled set of like squeezing hammer strength or like Nautilus chest press with like a second, maybe even a 2-second squeeze at the top, and really control the weight and make use of the like just the constant tension effect of what a set like that would feel like. But the next set, I might want to get on the pec deck, set the weights to something manageable, and just burn out with like 20 quick ones. Even do like some kind of nasty partials at the end just to finish it off. Use a little body language, because I still get a certain amount of fatigue and damage buildup, definitely blood flow to my chest, that I might not get with a really slow, controlled set. So it's kind of a tricky tip to say, because everything's always clipped out of context. Like, what's the new chest meta? Like, if you're not doing these 3 chest movements for 2025, you're missing out on gains. It's always so kind of quick to say, but I think the most accurate take is don't take it too seriously. Right? Do what feels good in the moment. Don't hurt yourself, and as long as you can leave the gym pumped and you push yourself hard, you're good. Go home, enjoy a meal, be it either a calorie deficit friendly meal of plain egg whites with mustard, which I've been I might be getting a little sick of now, or even a little nastier, maybe get a full-on burger, right? Just, if you're on track for whatever your weight gain or loss goals are. So try not to take it too crazy in either sort of skew of things. But I think no more talking. We're getting close. Let's get ready to get what I presume to be a rather crazy chest pump. I can't even imagine exactly what it's going to feel like to be that full of blood. But I don't have to imagine. I can just get in there and go do it. So let's get started. I was going to start with incline Smith. So I warm up, cables, everything like normal. 1 plate, 2 plates. I did 2 plates in a 25. Felt a little tight though. Didn't really feel like it was clicking. So instead, let's start with some light squeezing pec decks and move on from there. Like if I were to do a real heavy set and like be a little quick about it, my lifter sense is going off, right? It seems a little dangerous. So the last thing I want to do is start a bulking phase with some kind of random tweak. So I'm totally cool erring on the side of caution. So with these, I'm really trying to keep my shoulders back and just feel my chest down here. Because I've got a good habit or a bad habit of doing a lot of this, right? Hunching shoulders forward, and that makes me kind of overdevelop my front delts. But I'm getting better. So let's get this shit started. No. 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 Yeah. 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 Okay. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, that's a good start. Probably 2 more here. And then I think that chest press is saying my name. So, same weight, same everything. Ugh. 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 Wow. Yeah, 1 more will be perfect. Ugh. 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 Whoa. Yeah. I don't even think I'm going to need more than 2 minutes on the machine over there. I guess we'll find out, but let's move on to a press. Honestly, even though this is a totally different machine, the reps are going to look exactly the same. And what I mean by that is a squeeze emphasis, reasonably controlled eccentric, and then same thing. Like for these first few reps, I really want a full second of just like that's the hard part up here. Because if you notice the way that this weight is kind of angled, right? As I press, the weight actually moves further away from this point of rotation. So it's exerting more force, right? It's basically like if you're holding a dang wrench and you're trying to unscrew a little bolt or some kind of something or other, right? The longer and further away that you can exert force from that point of rotation, the more leverage you have. So that's what I'm talking about with these converging presses, is it gets nice and heavy at the top, and then it's actually a little lighter down here in the squeezing position. So the complete opposite of a regular press. You know, if you're doing this machine, you might take a second down here at the bottom and kind of before you go for another rep. You wouldn't do that on like an incline dumbbell or incline barbell because that's the heavy part down here. So a good point of kind of contrast in your pressing. You know, if you always do free weight stuff, you might be missing out because you're only working with the same strength curve. Whereas machines like this, apart from the fact that they're more solid, they do have that varied kind of force. Like if I had a scale in my hand, it would read lighter down here, heavier up here. So just a good way to change it up. But let me pick a song and go freaking nuts. All right. No. Ugh. 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 One more. One more of those. Ugh. 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 Oh my God. Oh. Ooh. That was a really good one. Yeah. But I think let's move on and do a different machine press. And I think chest is just about done. Only a little more. And I think then we can find some lighting. This machine is extra cool. Nice and old school. It's getting a little worn out though. So the fact that I'm extra bulked, it actually is kind of tricky to get inside of it. But same thing, a very controlled and even force throughout the rep. So I'm really going to make use of this squeezing, holding portion at the top. And let's do this first set normal grip, kind of like, what would this be? More pronated. Sometimes I like doing the parallel press, but let's start classic with this one. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. 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 Oh my God. No. I think that's it. Let's pose down. We are done. Goodness. All right. Well, I'm feeling like a freaking beast. Honestly, it's been a while since I've had this much, like, what feels like just straight up mass on my pecs. Like, even walking around, I kind of feel like I'm walking around like an asshole because I got my chest sticking out because it's so freaking pumped up. But let's see how we're looking. So, first full-on chest pump post-show day. So, still holding on to a good chunk of water. Over the next few days, I should actually begin to look a touch leaner than I do right now. Once some of that kind of subcutaneous layer gets a little more back to baseline. But in the meantime, being a little extra watery does not bother me one bit when it comes to being extra pumped. Because don't forget, what's your pump freaking made of, right? Just straight fluids. So let's, holy crap. Oh my gosh. Man, I just feel like a total freaking meatball. Which is going to be the plan over the course of this next, well, just indefinite amount of time. Because the leaner the heavier and beefier I can get, the better. Because don't forget, before I step on stage again, I would like to have filled out my frame a touch more. Obviously, I want to come in much leaner and much drier, but before any of that can even be really thought about, you got to come in with some of your size. So 227 is the new bar for that lean stage weight look. So that's a substantial amount of muscle. Because if I want to come in leaner than last time, then that means I'll actually have more room for more muscle. So it's not only like I'll be able to have 10 extra pounds. The sky is the freaking limit. To the point where, honestly, I don't even have to worry about any kind of prep or anything for quite some time. I just get to enjoy some freaky ass skin splitting, not shirt busting yet, but hopefully eventually shirt busting pumps, plus some just sweet lifts. So let's get in the car. No more post-lift cardio either. That's a little bit of a relief for me. All right, so one more benefit of having competed is now I know what I look like, bare bones in a sense, you know, minimally pumped and kind of just as a full sort of package. So I've kind of been under the impression that my back was taking lead on my torso in terms of overall kind of size, but actually peeling down, not as much as I would have expected. So what that means is no need to back off on it. Even if it might feel like it's getting extra big in the bulking phase, I know maybe it just has a good kind of glycogen retention, where bulked it might be extra beefy. So back is not going to be a once a week, half frequency kind of thing. I'm talking back attack. I think I'll even throw in a little more shoulders. Just a touch though, because shoulders actually do still overpower my arms a little bit, but they do need a touch of extra attention for sure. So speaking of that clanging, I gotta clean out my car tomorrow. I keep telling myself I'll do it, but whatever. It's not like trash, it's just a bunch of empty bottles and things. So a lot of room to grow, and that can begin to take my full attention, which is nice for me, because honestly that's a much more baseline state of being. Like, dude, holy crap, 5 months of that legit dieting, oh my goodness. Yeah, that certainly took some energy out of me. I feel like it's like a tsunami. You're sitting on the beach, the water begins to recede. That's me with my bulking energy. And it's been put in the back burner, but it's about to come back in full swing. So for anybody who's not so concerned with being absolutely peeled for this summertime, or I guess whenever you're watching this, you could be watching this freaking years from now and it's mid-fall or something. Dude, inaction 9 times out of 10 is your worst choice. So what I mean by that in more of a bulking phase is, dude, all right, you're on the fritz. I think main gaining is absolutely legit, right? Eat your protein, eat a regular amount of food, train hard. You are going to gain muscle slowly and steadily for a period. But what I think happens is you reach a certain threshold of size or experience or whatever, where now that same stimulus of that amount of food, it's no longer enough, right? You're just staying the same dude that you were a year ago. And that is not ideal. Now, it is if you're at your end state, right? If you're in your physique's end game and you're like, I want to stay right here, this is absolutely perfect for me, let's just keep getting daily pumps, stay where I'm at, enjoy, then I'm jealous, because that's probably a pretty dang cool and sort of zen kind of feeling. But I'm not there yet. I got some more gains to achieve. So what I'm trying to get at is, like, if that's you, if you do want to continue to make long-term progress, and it doesn't have to only be size. I mean, I'm talking strength, size, maybe you're more of a cardio kind of activity sort of dude, a hybrid athlete. You want to be able to squat 315 for reps and run a 5-minute mile. Look, man, leveraging your diet is a very powerful tool, and the reason why I can say that so kind of like as a matter of factly is because it's sneaky. You would think that the training and the actual physical act of pumping up and how you do it and what movements you do, you'd think that is the secret. You're like Indiana Jones walking into that that room of all the, is it the chalices or are they crowns? it's been a while, but I think they're cups, whatever, right? You got to pick the right one, and all of them are crazy flashy. That's push-pull legs. That's the Arnold split. That's upper lower. That's high frequency, low meso reps and drop sets, and like whatever. That's all the kind of flashy, interesting parts that are fun to change up because it does make it interesting, which has its own value in and of itself. But right, we all know which one is the actual right answer. Right? It's the scrappy cup down there. It's tracking your macros. It's having a big salad bowl in your fridge full of ground beef already cooked and strained, ready for you at a moment's notice to scoop out 8 or 6 ounces at a time, so that you've got that high quality protein sources at your disposal whenever you need it. It's making sure you eat enough calories throughout the day so that you're actually ready for the lift come 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever. And the reason why I say that that's kind of doesn't get the attention and hype that it deserves is because it doesn't get you amped up. I mean, somebody eating a bowl of rice and ground beef with like some buffalo sauce or something, it doesn't get you amped. I mean, what a dry scooping your pre-workout and slamming an energy drink, like, oh, I'm headed to the gym, let's go gym, come on. You get your music blaring. That's what we think about, right? Because that's the actual like act of going through the workouts. But it's all about that support structure. I don't care how hyped up you get or how like in the zone you are. The guy who's going to have a better lift, who might not be so amped up and freaking crazy excited, is the guy who just got a good night's rest. Oop. He ate his meals. He's properly energized and recovered. And when he does come to the gym, everything clicks, So just don't forget to set yourself up for success like that. Obviously get amped. Obviously get excited. Really get, I don't want to say, oh my God, I gotta clean that shit out. But it's like, yes, obviously get excited and like passionate and like deeply enthralled in the sets that you're doing. Take a few seconds with your music and like, but you're gonna have a much better time if everything else is in working order. You're your own NASCAR team. When you're in the gym working out, you're the driver. You get to jump behind the wheel. That's the fun part, right? But you're also the pit crew, right? You got to make sure your brake pads are working. You got the proper amount of oil and gas and fluids, and you don't have any random leaks or anything. Or if something's off, make sure you put yourself in a position to fix it. Don't hurt it any further when you actually start getting behind the wheel. So that's just little kind of details I like to think about, or at least I can use as a good kind of method of portraying the importance of all that stuff. So the more consistently that you can set yourself up like that and have a good lift, the better, right? I mean, across this whole bulking phase, which in terms of my overall like motivation, I just want to be bigger. Like, getting bigger, that's my thing. It's like I've got a project car in the garage. With the working out, that's like not only do I think everybody should just work out because it's good for you. You can physically move around the world and exert force better. You can pick up heavy shit. You're not going to hurt yourself. Like, just working out is definitely a boost for your overall quality of life, including consistent cardio. But on the, taking it to the extreme with the size and everything, that's just because I like it. Right? But over the course of this whole weight gaining phase, there is not going to be one day where I suddenly make leaps and bounds ahead in terms of progress. Really, I could take out any given day of these next few months, or I don't know how long I'm going to keep this next bulking phase up for, but I could take any day and just completely erase it. And in terms of my overall progress, it would make no difference. One little lift in the scheme of things, it's almost negligible, right? I mean, it's a drop in the bucket. But if that little drop, let's say you've got a leak somewhere, I always imagine an old like 24-hour gym I used to go to at school, where they had this big ass 5-gallon bucket as the ceiling was leaking. It maybe had a drop like once every 5 minutes. like you won't even notice because it was right behind the pendulum leg press. So whenever I was breathing between sets, sometimes I just kind of watch it and like see how it's going, just to, you know, just because whatever, I was just waiting between sets. Like one little drop every freaking, I don't even know how long, every while. But as a matter of fact, sure enough, that full ass 5-gallon bucket was full every couple of weeks. You know, and somebody who worked there had to pick it up and dump it out, and it was really gross looking. Glad that wasn't my responsibility. But slow and steady, that's where it's at. So if you can try to get to a point where you've got just little boosts day after day after freaking day, hundreds of days, maybe you start working out and you're really into it and you get to a point of thousands of days. I mean, I'm about 6.5 years deep now. So that's, oh geez, I mean, how many days has that been? And I've been pretty consistent. I mean, I've got some off days from like injury or just regular rest days, but so 6.5 times 360. Oh, I mean, that's beyond 2,000. I think that's that might even be getting into like the 2,200 day mark, right? And it freaking shows. So it doesn't have to be working out. You know, if you've got any kind of endeavor or interest that you have fun working on and that you want to take to a certain level and kind of get to a level of proficiency at, then clocking those hours, there's no way to freaking replace it, right? There's no replacement for displacement. The more you work at something, the better you're going to get at it, and the further you're going to go with it. It's I'm kind of spoiled now because I get to talk about the working out from a position of what you could really just say is like success, because I've done it for so long. I've basically got a ton of the gains that I mean, you could almost say like I dreamed about getting when I was younger as a beginner. I mean, I started out as a 160 pounder. Within the next like probably a month or two, I'm going to be back at a 260 pounder, right? I mean, 100 pounds of freaking mass gain. It's insanity, you know? But it's easy for me to say because I've already done it, right? It's like that old kind of cliche of like, all right, the best time to plant a big ass tree in your backyard was probably 30 years ago. The second best time, and we all know it, right freaking now. So the quicker you can start clocking those hours, the better. And it's gonna pass like nothing. I mean, even right now, like I can sort of think back to my old 1 year workouts, or 1 year in workouts at my high school, where I got to go down to the weight room and the weight class coach, or I guess you could say the weight class teacher, would let me come down and work out with those guys, just let me do my own thing, because he remembered me from like, because he was my gym teacher back in my elementary school, pretty much like my whole life. But so he was really cool for letting me come down and work out there. Like I remember taking my side chest little progress photos in the mirror in that little bathroom. All we had down there was barbells and dumbbells, but like it feels like no time at all has freaking passed. So it's something I was just talking about yesterday about delayed gratification. You know, clocking hours and then getting to enjoy those clocked hours later on. That is definitely up there as kind of one of the higher levels of sort of time and energy spending, I feel. Because what else is there, right? Just sit around, stay home and chill. There's definitely a place for that, for sure. I mean, don't think I have to go to the gym for like 12 hours a day or anything. But just setting aside a couple hours, including the drive, including the getting ready and everything else, for something that you can do on the daily that you're excited about, flawless. That is the way to do it. So I think that's all I got to say there. I'm not sure. Tomorrow will either be a rest day or tomorrow will be legs. But given how my back feels still, I think rest day might be in order. I don't know. We'll see. I can wait until tomorrow and then see how I feel. But if tomorrow's a rest day, I'm still going to go do my cardio, float in the sauna in the morning, but I just won't have a lift so I can kind of get myself back into fighting shape. Or I guess not fighting shape, but more like fighting state, you know, because sooner or later I'm going to be moving around just a touch more weight. Not like that's the point or anything, but I am kind of excited for it. So either way, I'm gonna have a crazy good night's rest. Probably dream about the leg workout or the cardio or whatever I'm gonna do in the morning, and then just get ready to start it all over again. So this actual bulking phase will begin probably, I don't know, maybe like a week or so, because I wanna get to a state of like equilibrium almost, because I'm still holding on to a couple of pounds of that extra sort of rebounded water, and I want to be able to look at a really steady weight gain once I actually start plotting my weight over these next couple of months. So I'll get back to that slightly drier state, maybe yeah. Last week it took a couple of days, so maybe 2-3 more days or so. So until then, I just get to enjoy some fully carved up lifts. But I'll see you tomorrow.